made perfectly, you can say, perfectly for okay for understanding the different stages of the tire. Okay, so now once the tire is manufactured, let us see what are the different types of the tire. So we will go to the presentation again. Now this is the tire manufacturing process. We have seen the complete video. Now the type of the tires which are used, and what is that? The first thing is bias ply or cross ply tire. So these are the tires which were in use earlier, and then there comes the, you can say, radial tire. So we will see what are the problems with this, and you see that the cord or these are impregnated or put into the crisscross pattern. That means they are making an angle. So this is bias ply or cross ply construction. So we will see. See, plies can be applied in two ways. Now you have got the tire plies. So you can apply it or you can arrange it in two ways. One is diagonally or the radially. So previously there was, people used to have the diagonal biased tire. So this was the earlier day tire. Then now we are using the radial tire. It's not that diagonally biased or cross ply construction is not there in use. It is in use, it is still available, but there are certain problems with it. So what is the problem? That we will see. For many years most tires had diagonal or bias plies. These plies crisscross. This makes tire strong in all direction. Okay, see, this is the pattern. This is called as the crisscross arrangement. This is the pattern. So if you see this, this is the pattern. So what it says, because of laying of the cords in this particular pattern, the plies, because of the overlap of the plies, it makes the tire very strong in all the directions. Okay, that means it is going to increase the stiffness. However, plies tend to move against each other and produce heat, especially at high speed. That means if you drive the vehicle at high speed, and that too in the summer season, then there is a problem of generation of the heat. Also, the trade tends to close or squirm. This is the term which is used specifically in the tire industry. This means that the trades, that the outer portion, they tend to get shrink or close at it meets the road. Okay, so because of the heat regeneration inside this, you have the problem with the trades. Trade is the outer part of the tire which is in contact with road. Now, to solve this particular problem, radial tires were brought out to remedy this problem. In radial tires, the plies run parallel to each other. So, what is the radial ply tire? We will see that this is the radial ply tire. In radial ply tires, you will find that they run like this. Okay, I have got another picture also where you can see the exact construction of the radial tire. So radial tires were brought out to remedy this problem. In radial tires, the plies run parallel to each other and vertical to tire bead. So this is the tire bead. So this is tire bead. To this, they are vertical. That means they are placed radially. Okay, if you say that this is the center, then they are placed radially. Runs parallel to each other and the vertical to tire bead. Stabilizer belts are applied over the plies to give strength parallel to the beads. Okay, belts are made up of rayon, nylon, fiberglass, and steel mesh. So what it happens? What happens because of this particular radial laying of the tire plies? The tire gets it becomes little bit soft, and there is no problem of the heat generation as compared to the bias ply tire. So nowadays people use the radial ply tire. Now the problem with the radial ply tire is, if you see the vehicle, how to identify that this particular vehicle is fitted with the radial ply or cross ply? if you more or less you have observed that the radial tires, they are basically soft, and you will always feel that there is need to inflate the air pressure inside the tire. So if such kind of tire if you see, then definitely it is basically a radial ply tire. And if you see that the tires, they are, the middle portion of the tire is in contact with the road, then definitely that is going to be a bias or cross ply construction, because these tires look to be very steep. Okay, so generally these bias ply or cross ply construction tires, they are cheaper compared to radial tire. So this is basically the idea how these are. Now if you observe this, these are the plies which are radially, you can say, located inside this tire. Now there is a distinction between this. The comparison of bias ply and radial ply tires. The bias ply tire, they say that the more tendency to skid because less area is in contact, and radial more tendency to skid bias ply. Radial ply says that less tendency to skid. Comparatively less fuel economy, provides better fuel economy due to less rolling resistance. So this is the factor, but this factor is not that prominent. It is basically the tire life which improves a lot compared to the bias ply tire. Okay, so now the bias ply tire, they wear fast, and the radial ply tire, they wear slow, because there is less heat buildup in the radial ply tire. So there is no question of any tire damage or any wear of the tire plies. Then more heat built up, less is built up. Trade squirm, trade does not squirm. That means the trades, they are staying in their own position because the heat generation is less in the radial ply tire. So that is why the advantage goes in favor of the radial ply tire naturally, because these are the earlier days tires, and radial ply tires, they are discovered after, they are made after this bias ply tires to overcome the problem of the heat built up. Okay, so this is the difference between the radial ply tire and the bias ply tire. Sometimes bias ply tires, they are also called as diagonal bias ply tires. Okay, so don't get confused. Bias ply or diagonal tires, they are one and the same. If you go to buy the tire from the tire shop, you will find that they are the normal tire. वो जो डीलरशिप वाले या जो टायर बेचने वाले रहते हैं, दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू यूज की बायस प्लाई टर्म. वो बोलेंगे कि एक सादे टायर है, सादे मींस बायस प्लाई टायर, and the second one they will say that radial tire. So go for the radial tire compared to the normal tires. Okay, so this is regarding the bias ply and radial ply tire. Now is there any query regarding these two? बायस प्लाई और रेडियल प्लाई में कुछ क्वेरी है क्या सर, कि आगे बढ़े? सर आर यू देयर? डू यू हैव एनी क्वेरी? दुर्गे जी कोई क्वेरी है कि आगे बढ़े?
It's okay, sir.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah. Now radial and bias ply tire. Again, for the clarity, this slide is added. So what it says, ply cords are, this is radial, are over at an angle 30 degree to tire axis. Right angles to rotation. Please ये भी इसमें थोड़ा सा गड़बड़ हुआ है, ये ऐसा चाहिए सर, तो ये भी मैं करेक्ट करके भेज दूंगा आपको. ठीक है, तो सर ये बेसिकली जो है, दिस इज अ रेडियल टायर. ये रेडियल का उसने ब्लू कलर में दिया हुआ है, और ये जो दिया हुआ है ये बायस प्लाई, ये जिगजैग पैटर्न वाला है. ओके, सो ये थोड़ा सा स्लाइड में जरा गड़बड़ है, तो इसको इग्नोर मार दें या मैं डिलीट मार दूंगा. Okay, now tire information. So as I told you that there is a number which is embossed on the side wall of the tire. So what is that number? You can see that the tire information, the number is P2 615/65R12. Then load index and speed symbol, then severe snow conditions, then tire ply composition and used material. So we don't require all these things, whereas we require this particular number. This is called as the metric designation of tire. It is decided by the Society of Automotive Engineers, and this gives you the idea. P is a passenger car tire. Then nominal width in millimeter is 215. Then the aspect ratio, that is height to width ratio. Okay, so aspect ratio is height to width ratio, that is given as 65. Then radial construction is R, and rim diameter in inches. That means whatever इन प्रीवियस क्लास व्हाटएवर आई सेड दैट वो छोटू जाके सबसे पहले आपका टायर पे नंबर देखेगा, तो he will see this number, and then based on this number the rim diameter is this particular rim diameter. So what is the, by any chance you know, what is the tires which are used on the, you can say, vehicle? उसका साइज क्या होता है सर? 15 mm होता है, 16 होता है, 17 होता है, 18 होता है, कौन सा होता है? Sir, please give the answer. Do you know what is the size of the tire which are used in Maruti 800? Then let us say Brezza. दोनों में कौन सा साइज हो सकता है सर? What is the effect of the tire radius on the vehicle? Suppose you have, means please understand this. Suppose you have tire of wheel rim, रिम डायमीटर आपका 15 इंच वाला है और एक आपके पास 18 इंच वाला है. सो विच वन विल बी फास्टर? In which tire you will cover for same RPM, you will cover more distance? एक 15 वाला है, एक 18 वाला है. सर सब सो गए क्या? बंद कर देने का क्या सर क्लास? आई डू नॉट नो. अच्छा, ये मैं सो गया. ये चैट का यही प्रॉब्लम है. ओके, 18 इंच. सौरभ, यू आर करेक्ट. The 18 inch is going to cover more distance for the same RPM. So usually when you will find that the speed of the vehicle which are fitted the you can say with the higher diameter, higher wheel rim, then it will give you more speed at the same RPM of the engine. Okay, so usually you will find that for SUVs they go for 16-inch tire compared to the smaller vehicle. Okay, that is basically the wheel rim diameter. Now the next one is yes. So this is the number which will tell you regarding the tire, and we are this is basically interest to us. So this is a metric tire designation. For example, if that number is P20575R and 15, so I have written it here. We are going to follow this because this is worldwide accepted. The other thing which people they say that the speed rating and other alphabet designation, then inch designation, then street tire size dimensions. So these are to be specified by the manufacturer. They may have their own specification or they may go for the standard specification, but this is accepted worldwide. The metric tire designation is accepted worldwide. Here the again the dimensions are shown. This is basically the thickness and this is the width. Then they specify flatness, radial structure, rim diameter. तो सर ये इतने ज्यादा अपने को स्पेसिफिकेशन नहीं चाहिए. We just want this particular number, and that too for cars we are interested in this last number. because here the rim diameter we require. Based on that, the generally for passenger car series you can have these particular dimensions, and then you can use that. So I have shown this is 1, 2, 3 designations. They are also in use but not accepted worldwide. They are basically the outcome of the tire manufacturer. They have got their own product, so they specify it in that way. But please understand that whatever written in the blue ink, that is to be followed. Okay. Now next is, this is the symbol again. Here the all the dimensions are shown, section width, section height, and this is ये टायर डिसिग्नेशन का यहाँ ये डिटेल्स दिया हुआ है. Yes, speed symbol that we will not be following. This is only to make you aware that this is the number which will specify the diameter, sorry, the description of the tire. So please use this number. Only this number is acceptable. Other numbers we will not be using. I have shown here those numbers only to make you realize that different manufacturers may have different types of designation. Okay, so that may vary from company to company because that flexibility is given to them, but overall the tire dimensions, geometric dimensions and term, they remain same as per this particular thing. So this is basically the specific to tire manufacturer. So this is specific to tire manufacturer, so don't rely on that number perfectly. Now tire classification. So you can have classification based on the material: nylon, steel belted, all steel, polyester belted, rayon and other thing. So this is basically the classification of the tire based on construction, radial or bias and tube and tubeless. Then based on the application, for which applications you use that. Then based on the pattern, design, lug, rib and semi. This is the trade pattern design he is talking about. So please understand that the main classification is this based on the construction, that is the radial and bias ply. Then tires with tube and tires without tube, they come in both. They can be in radial, they can be in bias ply. Okay, so other application just for the information, not of that much use. That how do you classify? It is giving you the idea that the tire can be classified based on these four, but this is the important one. Okay, based on the construction, this is the major classification as far as passenger cars are concerned. Now the next topic is tire inspection. So what do you mean by tire inspection? So please understand that tire inspection can be of two types. One is just by the visual inspection. That means if the vehicle is parked in a parking lot, you can, before starting the vehicle, you can just observe the tire. If you see any particular kind of damage, then that is also called as the visual inspection. Then you take the appropriate action. Otherwise there are inspection which can be done with the help of the instruments, and we are specifically interested into the inspection which is done by using instruments. So radial run out, lateral run out, and then tire wear, then those kinds of things which we are going to see here or discuss here. So tire inspection, the purpose of inspective tire is to determine if they are safe for further use. The purpose of inspection tire चाहिए, ये थोड़ा सा अभी इसमें काफी गलती है because I had to make this presentation for two different versions, so I could not get time to correct the spelling mistakes and all. The purpose of inspection of tire is to determine if they are safe for further use. Tires have tread wear indicator. So these are the tread wear indicator. ये जो बताया है ना, they are the field section basically. Okay, tread wear indicator ये है. Okay, और wear bars, they are field sections. That means उसमें आप ये continuity जो है ये ग्रू की ये नहीं रहेगी, ये field section रहेंगे. ये second है ये tread wear indicator tire में. Okay, for the tread grooves that will show when the tread has worn down to 1.6 millimeter. So you can have the depth gauge, you measure that. If it is worn out to 1.6 millimeters, then you can take the corrective action. A tire with a wear bar showing worn out and should be replaced. Okay, that means अगर ये 1.6 ये मैंने जनरल आइडिया दिया है, इसका मार्क करना बहुत डिफिकल्ट है, but generally if you see that there is a wear which is indicated on this trade wear mark, then you can very well understand that the tire has worn out to the level which is not expected, so you should replace that. A trade depth gauge can be inserted into trade groove to measure trade depth. Trade depth of at least 0.8 millimeter is required in any two adjacent grooves at any location of the tire. Otherwise, you can have this quarter test, which is very common, that आप एक coin लो और see that the quarter of the coin is getting into this. So that is basically the correct way. So quarter test. So this is the wrong way because you are not inserting it into the tire tread. तो ये भी टेस्ट होता है टायर इंस्पेक्शन के लिए, सो टायर वियर फाइंड आउट करने के लिए. सो ये तो अभी जस्ट विजुअल टाइप का इंस्पेक्शन हो गया कि ट्रेड वियर में अगर मार्क है या डेप्थ गेज में है. नाउ नेक्स्ट वी विल सी दैट in order to even out the wear, that means usually the tire rotation is done. सर ये जो है ये बल्ज एंड ऑल ये टायर पे सर ये आप विजुअली इंस्पेक्ट कर सकते हो, इसके लिए कुछ मेजरमेंट की जरूरत नहीं है ये और ये. Now what it says, tire rotation after 10,000 kilometer tire rotation is to be carried out to even out the differences in wear and enhances tire life. Sir, if you have the vehicle four-wheeler, then make sure that after 10,000 kilometer or you can say after a specific time period, then you can go and rotate the tire. So what is the rotating sequence? Now you have got the four-wheel vehicle. So the rear first, that right rear tire is named as 1, then this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So and this is the spare wheel. So what do you mean by tire rotation? You have to follow the specific you can say sequence. What you are going to do, you are going to shift this spare wheel to position 1, then wheel at position 1 will be shifted to wheel at position 2. Position 2 wheel will be shifted to position 3, and 3 will be shifted to 4, and 4 will become your spare wheel. So this is basically the tire rotation pattern. So after every 10,000 kilometer, do not forget to rotate the tire, because that will even out the you can say wear on the tire. Then check for bulges on sidewall. Bulges near plies have separated. Bulges near plies have separated and tire could fail at any time. अगर ये bulges में अगर plies separate हुआ है, that means you find that there is some kind of thread which is coming out from this particular, then there are chances that the tire could fail at any time. Tires with separated or broken plies should be replaced. Okay, so this is the normal thing. This you can make out. You might have seen that there are some tires on which such kind of mark is there. Sir, by chance have you seen this? कि ऐसा कोई बल्ज है सपोज बाइसिकल के टायर में, हैव यू एक्सपीरियंस्ड दिस थिंग? सर कभी किया है क्या सर एक्सपीरियंस की कुछ टायर पे अगर बाइसिकल के टायर पे बल्जिंग है, जैसे पुराने बाइसिकल के टायर में बल्जिंग होता था, तो सर इफ यू हैव सीन दैट, व्हाट इज द रेमेडी which the roadside mechanic do for it? It will put the another piece of the tire at this particular location from inside, which is called as gaiter. Okay, have you heard this word gaiter? This is the local word which is used. गेटर करके बोलते हैं, वो टायर को गेटर डाल दे ऐसा बोलेंगे आप. आप किसी भी टायर किसी भी साइकिल रिपेयर शॉप वाले से पूछिए कि गेटर का मतलब क्या है. सो व्हाट ही विल से, ये जब टायर यहाँ से फट जाएगा या कुछ हो जाएगा, व्हाट ही विल डू, he will cut the old tire and put inside the this damaged tire. So that is called as gaiter. and then he will fit the tube into that, and you can again use that particular tire for some point, for some more time, because if you don't have money to replace, buy the new tire, then people used to do that. The problem with the gator is that whenever it touches the ground, then that will change the stiffness of the tire. As a result, you feel the shock. Okay, that is the problem with the gator. So nowadays, most of the bicycle repairers shop, they don't use that particular thing. Gator, they say that कि टायर आप चेंज कर लीजिएगा, कि गेटर अगर आपने लगा दिया, तो अगर जो एक आधा सपोज रियर साइड के टायर को आपने गेटर लगा दिया बाइसिकल के, तो जो डबल सीट अगर चल रहे हैं उस पे, तो जो कैरियर पे जो बैठा पैसेंजर है, उसको फील होगा हमेशा, जब जब ये गेटर रोड को टच करेगा, तो ही विल फील एज इफ हिज साइकिल इज जंपिंग. ओके, सो ये प्रॉब्लम है गेटर का. बट प्रीवियसली means I have used the cycle which is fitted with the tire having gate or gator, उसमें बोलते थे local language में. So that is basically the remedy. But yeah, this kind of remedy cannot be done for the four wheeler. Now then you have to replace the tire itself. Okay. Now, there is another defect which can come in the tire, that is called as the runout. The runout is of two types. One is radial runout and the other one is lateral runout. So we will see this is a very good thing which you might have seen. जैसे सर आपको इफ यू हैव सीन दिस टर्म चक्का थ्रू करना, साइकिल का चक्का थ्रू करना, ये भी आप साइकिल वाले से पूछिए तो ही विल टेल यू हाउ टू थ्रू दी साइकिल टायर, साइकिल व्हील असेंबली कंप्लीटली. यार थोड़ा सा अभी जब जब आप कॉलेज के सामने जाएंगे, चाय पियेंगे, तो वहाँ एक चाय वो साइकिल रिपेयर करने वाला आदमी है, तो उसको ये सर ये टर्म पूछिए, वो आपको बहुत अच्छे से समझा के देगा कि हाउ ही चेक्स द रन आउट. एंड now for the sophisticated people or the people who are having service centers and the tire selling, now they use this kind of instrument वाली method और चेकिंग दी टायर रन आउट. लेकिन बेचारा जो फुटपाथ पे साइकिल रिपेयर करने वाला बैठा है, उसके पास इतने इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स नहीं होते, सो ही विल अडॉप्ट हिज ओन प्रोसेस and he will through the tire. So what is this run out? We'll see. Just a minute. सर ये जो है, ये आपने टायर लगा दिया है, तो ये अगर थोड़ा सा प्लेन से आउट है, ये देखिए थोड़ा सा टेढ़ा है नॉर्मल से. सो व्हाट इट सेज कि रन आउट, द मेजर ऑफ द आउट ऑफ राउंडनेस ऑफ द टायर causing a vibration cannot be balanced. You have to make it through. Okay, the measure of the out of roundness of the tire causing a vibration that cannot be balanced, that is basically the run out. कि आपने ये run out जो है, ये अभी वो साइड मूवमेंट हो रही है, तो कैसे करेंगे इसको, तो ये कैसे करेंगे सर, ये दो प्रकार का रन आउट होता है. One is basically the radial run out. A radial run out is a check like this. So you select one thread which is not wear out, you use the dial gauge and other at the rim location, and then you check the radial run out here. ये डायल गेज है, ये तो लैटरल के लिए है. ये मैं ये है, ये जो फिगर है, इट शोज द रेडियल रन आउट. और यू कैन से यस, ये भी रेडियल रन आउट ही है. ये टायर ऐसा उसने हॉरिजॉन्टल इसको फिट किया हुआ है. ओके, नाउ व्हाट इट विल डू, see that total variation in a direction perpendicular to axis of rotation. The total variation in the direction perpendicular to axis of rotation of an indicated surface from a plane surface of revolution, it is expressed in total indicator reading. So ये जो है रेडियल रन आउट का, आप ये टायर को टोटल रन करो एंड देन ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट कि ये जो डायल गेज का जो रीडिंग है, ये कहां से कहां तक के जाता है, एंड यू ऐड दैट, सो दैट बिकम्स योर टोटल इंडिकेटर reading. So this is how you can check the radial runout. Check will radial runout here. ये जो है सर, ये टायर का ट्रेड वाला पोर्शन है, दिस विल टच टू द रोड एंड दिस इज बेसिकली द व्हील rim which is over here. ओके, सो यहाँ पे जो है ये जो फ्लैट वाला पोर्शन है वहां पे आप डायल गेज लगाइए एंड यू कैन रोटेट द व्हील अबाउट दिस पर्टिकुलर एक्सिस। तो ये व्हील को रोटेट करिए तो आपको रेडियल रनआउट पता चलेगा। लैटरल रनआउट के लिए आपको यहाँ चेक करना पड़ेगा। ये टायर के जो साइड वॉल है वहां का एक जो प्लेन पोर्शन है वहां पे आपको लैटरल रनआउट आप चेक कर सकते हो। सो नाउ विल शो यू दिस इज रेडियल रनआउट। The total variation of direction perpendicular to the axis of rotation of an indicated surface from a plane surface of revolution, it is expressed in TIR। तो ये सर यहाँ है पॉइंटर। अभी देखिए अगर आपने ये चक्का रन किया तो ये पॉइंटर यहाँ हो गया। तो ये जो टोटल रीडिंग है इतना आपका टायर आउट ऑफ प्लेन दौड़ रहा है। सो दिस इज बेसिकली द रेडियल रनआउट। ठीक है, हैव यू अंडरस्टूड दिस? चलो अभी इसके बाद में हम लोग लैटरल रनआउट डिस्कस करते हैं। नाउ दिस इज बेसिकली द फिगर विच शोज हाउ टू चेक द लैटरल रनआउट। सी रेडियल हमने यहाँ चेक किया था और यहाँ चेक किया था एंड दिस इज आई सेड दैट दिस इज बेसिकली द व्हील रिम। ओके, सो ये है आपका व्हील रिम। अभी लैटरल कहाँ सर? ये साइड में चेक करेंगे। लैटरल एक ट्रेड का जो साइड वॉल है उस पे और दूसरा जो है ये व्हील का जो साइड वॉल है, ये व्हील रिम का जो साइड वॉल है प्लेन सरफेस उस पे। ओके, lateral runout, wheel and wheel rim both। Okay, lateral runout is side to side motion of a wheel rim as it turns on the hub. The erratic motion in turn causes uneven wear of the tire। That means if the tire is having lateral runout or radial runout, in both the cases it becomes the cause of uneven tire wear, because वो टायर का जो एक perfect plane में rotation है that will not be achieved। So when the vehicle is driven even without the brakes applied, the rotor hits the pad slightly on each revolution। Now he is talking about कि जैसे मान लो आप you are using the disc brake and if that disc is fitted with the hub of the wheel rim, then in that case if the tire rotates then there is slight play because of this lateral runout, then it may hit the brake disc। Okay, rotor hits the pads lightly on each revolution। This extra wear leaves a thin spot on the rotor। Once this thickness variation is worn into the rotor, the brake pedal will vibrate when braking। So please understand that कि जैसे मान लो कि ब्रेक प्लेट जो है वो अगर अगर आपका टायर का लैटरल रन आउट है तो इट इज गोइंग टू हिट एट वन पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट टू द ब्रेक पैड। as a result there will be some permanent mark at that particular location on the disc of the brake, and whenever you apply the brake you will find that the brake pedal will vibrate when braking। so this is the effect of lateral run out। sir please try to understand ये जो point है ये thin spot and extra wear leaves thin thin spot on the rotor। तो ये सर हम लोग जब ये डिस्क ब्रेक पढ़ेंगे तो at that time I will tell you what is the clearance between the disc and the brake shoe। and in that case if you are running the vehicle which is having the wheels fitted and there is some excessive lateral runout, then in that case there will be vibrations in the brake pedal so when you apply the brakes, so this has to be removed। so please understand that removing this particular lateral and radial runout is very important task। otherwise also if you carefully observe that अगर vehicle अगर चल रहा है और उसमें excessive lateral और radial runout है, then you will not observe the particular you can say smooth motion radial motion of revolutionary motion of the tire। rather you will find that there is some unevenness is present in the uh, rotation of the wheel। so this is the lateral runout and radial runout। these are the inspections to be done on the tire and wheel rim with the help of the dial gauges. Now this is the, ये देखिए सर, हम लोगों ने रेडियल के लिए यहाँ लगाया था डायल गेज, अभी इसने लैटरल के लिए टायर के साइड वॉल पे लगाया हुआ है. Okay, so now axial runout, this is also called as axial runout. The total deviation of the axial reference surface noted during one revolution of the one piece. तो ये सर ये टोटल, ये देखिए, ये अगर आपने ये टायर का ये प्लेन दिखा तो ये देखिए सर, सॉरी ये है, दिस हैज टू बी ओरिजिनल वन एंड नाउ दिस इज विद द डिफ्लेक्टेड, यानी थोड़ा सा स्लाइटली ये एक प्लेन से बाहर है, ये जो परफेक्ट प्लेन है इससे ये थोड़ा सा डेविएटेड है. So this is now effect of wheel runout. It says that wheel that are bent or have excessive lateral runout or radial runout cause vibration and imbalance problem. Too much runout of front wheels will cause the front end of the vehicle to vibrate up and down. Sometimes repositioning of the tire on the wheel reduces or eliminate excessive radial runout. A quick check of lateral runout and radial runout can be made using dial indicator or runout gauges. There are gauges as well. With the dial indicator in each position, rotate the wheel in both directions. The total indicator reading shows the amount of runout. Okay. If wheel runout exceeds specification, it indicates worn or damaged tire. So sir, ये रेड लाइन जो है ये काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है. What it says that if wheel runout exceeds specification, it indicates worn or damaged tire. Sir, abhi now you tell me, if you do every check, then throughout year you are going to check the vehicle. So please do not be under impression that you have to check each and every you can say specification every time. So whenever you experience a problem and whenever you don't get the first obvious reason of any of the problem, then you shift to the next inspection. It is basically similar to diagnosing the problem of a patient. Okay, so you need to diagnose the problem of the vehicle in the similar manner. So therefore, most of the automotive manufacturers, they make the checklist wherein if such kind of complaint is there, there is a quick solution and quick checks are given. So that the person or the mechanic or the service person should not miss out any of the things while checking, because most of the time these people, they try to attack or they get biased while diagnosing the problem. So that should not happen. One simple case which has happened with my vehicle is, there was some problem in the vehicle connection as far as the cooling water connection is concerned in my vehicle. Okay, what it used to happen, see, I bought the new Maruti Alto 800 vehicle, and to my surprise I found that within the use of 1 year I could able to see that the vehicle used to give the indication of the overheating. तो overheating का indication आया तो I thought कि there is some problem, and overheating is a very dangerous problem, because if you don't tackle it, then it can damage the engine. So I topped up the coolant level in the engine and then again use that. But now in the next time it has shown that particular warning of overheating within 4 months. पहले जो है वो 6 महीने में बताया उसने, 6 महीने या 1 साल में बताया, दिन बाद में 4 ही महीने में उसने इंडिकेशन दिया कि भाई vehicle is hot. So I thought that something is wrong, and when I showed that vehicle to the Maruti people, then at that time they said that कि इसका ये खराब हुआ है, वो खराब हुआ है, ये hoses change करना पड़ेगा, and they gave the estimate of, let us say, 13,000 rupees to me. I said that first let us find out the problem. What is the problem? If at all the problem is with the hoses, then we can change that, but we can't do the replacement of everything in that if we do not know the problem. Then what I did, I parked the vehicle on a clean floor in my home for 4-5 days and tried to see whether there is any leakage drop is there on the floor, then I could able to find out one or two just very, you can say, minute drops which were green in color on the floor. Then I thought that there is some kind of leakage, so we have to check that. And to my surprise, I found out that there was a metal pipe connection elbow which is fitted to the engine block, and that elbow was having the hair crack, and because of that there was a leakage. Okay, so uh, the problem was with that particular elbow which is having hair crack. And what it used to happen when I used to drive the vehicle, there used to be some leakage through that particular cap. But since the vehicle used to be in hot condition and the crack is very very minute, the fluid used to get evaporated from that particular level, leaving no trace of leakage on that particular joint. But somehow I could able to fix that problem in only 300. I just changed that particular component, and now there is no problem of overheating from last 4 years. Okay, so such kind of thing should be there. So usually most of the time nowadays people, they don't repair, they don't identify, and in hurriedly they just change the components, similar to what we do for our mobile phones. If there is some problem with that, we don't repair, we just replace that particular component. In computer also, RAM खराब हो गई, RAM change करो, fan खराब हो गया, fan change करो. So these kinds of things are there. So this is basically the runout. In next class, we are going to see what do you mean by wheel balancing and other things. Okay, so we'll stop here. If you have any problem, please do ask. Otherwise, it is over from my side. If you have any problem, please do ask. If you do not have any problem, you can leave the meeting.